If you look very closely at these opening images in our video, Thingytude at Merion Dwyfar, you may just be sufficiently alert to notice a very slight continuity error in the opening title shots, establishing the nature of this agricultural college in North Wales, where Thingytude are running their latest training day for students and tutors at the college and the wider community. Day one is the introduction to low-power radio and the dramatic performance improvements of the latest systems that combine the techniques usually used to hide and enhance high-cost military radio signals with the plummeting cost of sensors and processing ability. The aim is to prove to the community that these high-tech systems are no longer the preserve of military and big business, but are available for all to use and are not difficult to implement. The college has already installed a gateway that provides the region with radio coverage that can be extended up to 15 kilometres away and connect over 10,000 devices. The devices are cheap and can be sensors that can report on the condition of almost anything: temperature, humidity, fire, smoke, movement. The list is really only limited by the imagination. Devices don't just send these details out to be seen on the internet, PCs, tablets or mobile phones, but can also be used to receive and act on commands sent back to them. These are called actuators and are now the internet-enabled remote control facility. Together, these sensors and actuators connected together are referred to as the Internet of Things. The classroom activities are focused on explaining these capabilities and are listing new and innovative ideas that have a practical benefit at the college and the community. Once the penny drops, the ideas flow and the magic begins. As part of the day, just listen to some of the thoughts that emerged during a tour of the farming and woodland facilities adjoining the college.
The farm manager and the forest manager, so I'm just a bus driver today, okay? So just to explain to you, we've got 700 acres we've got as a college. There's 1,000 acres within the wall, so there's 300 acres in private hands. We have 700 acres, 300 acres of woodland and 400 acres of farmland. That's what the college owns, and I manage that. So there's 4 members of staff working on the farm, and there's 1.5 in the forestry. So we're looking
Your
at
job's
really,
to find the half.
Yeah, there's a guy doing 2 days a week. Then we're looking for applications for this technology on the farm, really, such as security maybe, or health monitoring, or we're quite excited in the fact that we can put these sensors out, and maybe in forestry, maybe in engineering, maybe in livestock production. Where can it be used? The RAM, the sensors arrived last week in a little cardboard box. I ran out to the farm for about 10 minutes. We managed to put one sensor in the fridge in the pig unit, which we'll go up and have a look, because that's monitoring the temperature of the vaccines in the fridge. We put another sensor on a Charlie ram lamb, which is in this little paddock here. He's got a little collar on him with a mobility sensor on it. And we're just thinking, there's so much talk about dog harassment of sheep. Apparently there's 15,000 sheep killed by dogs this year in the UK alone. 15,000. So that's all over the UK. So if you think about it, say if you were farming in a highly densely populated area, say the Great Orme, Pen y Gogarth in Llandudno, where there's a lot of people walking the dogs and blah blah blah. If you could put one of those on one sheep in a group of 150, 200, and you could monitor its mobility, then what's not to say that could be an alert on your phone. So we'll go up to the pig unit and have a look at the just the fridge there. Those 2 rooms you've just come in through are the farrowing rooms, where the sows give birth need to be at 25 degrees plus, whereas some of these finisher pigs are quite comfortable on that 20 degrees. A lot of sensors in the shed already, sensing temperature and airflow, but obviously all we've done is put a sensor in the fridge to monitor the vaccines. So the vaccines have to be kept at about 8 degrees Celsius. We don't want too much fluctuation on that from Spain.
Oh, okay. You send it off, yeah.
Take a couple of deep breaths and you'll never smell it again.
So this is the sensor I received, and it's working. It just has that little antennae on it. So it's speaking with the antennae on top of the building there. Through all these buildings and, you know. So
Sorry.
that could be programmed, I suppose. I don't know anything about this, okay? To give an alert on my phone if the temperature dropped, or could, I suppose.
I like to have nice antennas and aerials everywhere because we like aerials. To have this little thing sitting there on a box is horrible as far as we're concerned. But because of the technology that we're using here, this new LoRaWAN low power radio technology, we can get away with these things. Places where traditionally radios never worked are now working because of the technology in this box.
If there was a LoRaWAN antenna in the compressor area or something, you could then purchase things like this on your own and try them out. I'm just wondering, because of our LoRaWAN antennae, would they be able to make use of it with sensors in their greenhouses? Humidity, moisture, temperature. So it's for the benefits of all, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd be interested in having sensors in these, especially on the weekends where there aren't any people working here.
Yeah.
If it gets too hot or too dry, or we run a lot of chainsaw courses. You can see two individuals here on a cross-cutting course, doing a chainsaw safety cross-cutting course. Two things that keep me awake at night is staff safety and security. They've got quite a lot of expensive equipment down here. There's over 50 chainsaws in storage down the bottom there. It's worth quite a lot of money and has been targeted in the past. How could this help with security and safety? You know, we never have lone workers. We might have two guys working in the forest. We all carry radios, but could we put a sensor on them? Movement sensor? Could we monitor that from reception? Could we find out if anybody's opened one of these doors on the weekends or been tampering with them? Could we put sensor in our timber stack to see if it's under 18% moisture content, so it's ready for chipping? Because our teaching facility runs on our own wood chip. It needs to be 18% moisture content or lower. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for as a farm and forest manager, is application of this technology. Make life easier and I get plenty of sleep. Squirrels, enemy number one for me, squirrels, grey squirrels. Late 90s, early 2000s, we had massive storms. A lot of oak trees went down in England, and they've replanted all that oak and it's all gone to waste. Because they didn't anticipate what the population of grey squirrels was in the UK. They ring back young oak trees, kill them in the winter. And also, we put up hundreds of bird boxes within the Gloucester scheme here in Wales. That's what the hall starts off with, for these little boys to nest in. Who goes after the eggs? Grey squirrels. You can see they gnaw their way into the bird boxes. So it's a massive pest. It's keeping the red population down as well. So we're trying to hunt them as much as we can and get rid of them to try and control, but it's a massive problem. 2 years ago we took out 90 grey squirrels, and I'm sure the population is back up to 90 now again. There's a trap that the New Zealanders have developed. It's called the Good Nature Trap, and it's got a little scent in it, and it's got a captive bolt in it. So it takes out greys, but it's going through licensing at the moment. And hopefully in June we'll see if that's going to be allowed out on license. You don't actually have to check those traps every day. It's a lethal trap, and then they fall down, and foxes and badgers will take them. So, but that's another thing, monitoring this kind of thing. Or the big thing with the greys really is the bird boxes and the oak trees. In Wales, if we're going to be planting more timber in the future, especially hardwoods, then there's no point waiting for the tree to grow 10 years and then you get greys coming and ring backing them all. destroying your investment. So I suppose we could put a sensor or something into this stack or into the trees, see what the actual moisture content is currently. It's got to dry out over summer and then it'll be ready. Otherwise it'll overheat in the stack, in the wood chip stack, and go mouldy, and then we could have a fire. So the money, this is where we come out to some of the farmland, and you can see how cold it is. The grass is grazed pretty tight. Ewes and lambs we've turned out last week. We do control foxes here on the estate, but I think we had a black and white one that took a lamb the other night, which could be a problem because we can't take them out, otherwise known as a badger, because there wasn't anything left of the lamb, and the rib cage had been crushed as well. So badgers have got very, very strong jawbone. So what do you do if badgers start taking lambs? What do you recommend us do with a badger that is taking lambs? Well, you're not allowed to shoot it. So yeah, we might have to move these sheep from this paddock if we lose another one from this field. You can put a noise sensor on this to see who's crossing it.
You don't sleep at night for this sensor thing, do you?
Well, as long as there's some gain to be made out of putting it there.
Yes.
You know, if there's no gain, then why do it? You know, it's got to have some commercial gain, hasn't it?
There was me looking at the bucolic charm, and it's full of problems to be solved.
Farm. Yeah. Well, there is always problems, isn't it? That's what we're doing, isn't it? Problem solving. These have just been turned out this morning. Now we got to troi allan, and they haven't gone out to the fields yet. They're hanging around the yard. You know, the ewes are very wary of the lambs. You know, they will work their way out to the field eventually. They've just been turned out. They're just getting used to walking around with two lambs with them. They've been in a small pen for a few days, haven't they? No electronic tags. We don't electronic tag at lambing now. Because we've got a much simpler kind of system for recording, which is ear notching. So that little lamb there with a little notch in its right ear, can you see that little notch? Is out of a ewe which we haven't touched. So hopefully she'll be the same. She'll next year or the year after will give birth to two lambs unassisted. Any ewes that we have problems with, we'll ear notch them. So we're very low tech. We started with electronic tagging, but it's very difficult to tag a 2-day-old lamb at birth. You know, if the lamb, it can hurt their ears. If you're into pedigree stud breeding, you have to do it. But I'm sure in the future it'll be DNA based anyway. Do you want to go into the sheep shed? So yeah, this is the lambing shed. Anything that makes life easier at lambing is worth considering. Anything that reduces mortality is worth considering. Lambing time can grind you down physically. I suppose if you had one big massive shed, a camera would be fantastic. You know, a really high resolution camera, so that you could open your laptop in the kitchen, at home in the warmth, and then you could scan the whole shed. Ideally, you'd want one shed with a camera in the middle, and that you could zone into each pen. And that would save you, that would make life a lot more pleasurable at lambing.
Real farming has its underside, but even here, technology has its place. These masts have been installed for walkie-talkie use. Looking around, it seems that even cowmen are radio enabled,
So what have you got in there?
walking around with burials poking out of their collars.
Serve 2 cows. fertilising the cow. She's bulling. I'm serving her, so she'll get pregnant.
Okay. Okay. And that's guaranteed, is it?
No guarantee at all. Just,
What's the chances?
well, 50-50. Yeah.
As little as that?
Yeah. Well, we got a bit more chance because we're putting it straight through the cervix. We're putting the semen through the cervix.
Right.
When a bull is serving, they're putting it at the entrance of the cervix. But still, I'm not quite sure what is the good. There's more of a chance, yes, than a bull, but it's still 50-50, isn't it?
Just putting a bull out of job.
Yeah, because we're catching them at their peak as well.
And how do you know it's their peak?
Because we've got collars on. If you see they've got collars on, it shows them in the time with the time.
You can enjoy this. Oh.
There we go. As easy as that.
Easy as that. There's no grace in this process, is there? We appear to have strayed slightly off topic here, but moving on to day 2, which had to be postponed due to a heavy fall of overnight snow and the closure of the college. What we have seen here is the community introduction to LoRaWAN radio, the promise and capabilities of the new technology, and the fertile environment in which we hope many new ideas will flourish. In the meantime, we can leave you with some slow TV and the warmth of contented cattle quietly feeding. Are they lowing?